sports.
We are the Force. We are Country.
It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Miami Marlins. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday night to you, wherever you may be. In the Dodger lineup tonight, hitting cleanup and playing first base will be Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez, along with Josh Beckett and Nick Punto, arrived today, and Adrian is in the lineup tonight. For the Dodgers, trying to catch up with the Giants, trailing by 3 at the start of the day. And for the Dodgers, they will have Clayton Kershaw going for his 12th win. 3-1 lifetime against Miami. He beat them earlier this year in Miami. On the mound, a fine right-hander, big fella at 6'7". Josh Johnson had Tommy John surgery. We haven't seen him pitch in 2 years. He is 3-0 lifetime, however, at Dodger Stadium. We'll get to the ball game and a whole lot more coming up right after this.
Aerial coverage brought to you today by Hangar One, made in California in an actual aircraft hangar. Hey, welcome back. Getting you set for Dodger baseball moments away. Hosting the Marlins. Great shot at Dodger Stadium, which is indeed the new home of 4 new players arriving from Boston today. Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, Nick Punto, Carl Crawford not on the trip. I'm with Kenny Lofton and Steve Lyons. Kenny, describe the feeling of walking into a new clubhouse and putting on that uniform, meeting your new teammates for the first time.
You know, I think the biggest thing that you come in with all this excitement because you have you don't know what the other players are going to think about you. You know, you have the fans, you have the cameras, you have everybody, something new for you to try to just figure out. And these guys just have this great feeling they feel about what's going on.
Yeah, pretty nerve-wracking, too. When you look at a guy like Nick Punto, who spent most of his career in the American League, a little bit of time in the National League. He doesn't know half these guys. He's coming in, shaking hands, looking at them like, do you guys know who I am? Remember, I do play in this game. It can be very nerve-wracking, and you want to get off to a good start because you want to make a good impression.
Well, guys switching leagues. We'll see what impact. Of course, we know that Agon has some experience in the NL West. It's a tremendous amount of excitement, a great atmosphere and energy with this new team. Stay tuned for First Pitch with Ben next.
The Dodgers and the Miami Marlins, Game 2 of the 3-game series. It marks the 5th meeting of the year between the two teams, and the Dodgers have won 3 of the previous 4. For the Dodgers tonight, they'll send Clayton Kershaw to the mound with a record of 11-7. He beat Miami earlier this year, and he is 3-1 lifetime. Opposing will be Josh Johnson, who has the same lifetime record, 3-1. And he is 3-0 here at Dodger Stadium. Johnson with a record of 7-10, but he's lost some very tough ball games and is a far better pitcher than those numbers would indicate. The Giants, meanwhile, had played the Atlanta Braves today, and the Giants lost that ball game. So the door is open, and the Dodgers have a chance to cut the Giant lead to 2. Meanwhile, Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, and Nick Punto are here as the Dodgers try to go to the whip and see if they can't move on the Giants right now. And, of course, after tomorrow's game, the Dodgers go to Colorado for 3. The Giants will play Houston. Dodgers then come home, play Arizona and San Diego. And in the first week of September, actually starting on the 7th, they'll have the weekend against the San Francisco Giants up there. So the Dodgers make a huge move, and now we will see if it pays off. The Dodgers have played 126 games, so counting tonight, 36 games left, and they're hoping the number 23 will certainly make a huge dent in that schedule. Let's take a look at the Miami Marlins, a ball club that will feature Gorkas Hernandez leading off in center field, followed by Donovan Solano at second base and Jose Reyes at short. Carlos Lee hits clean up at first base. Then you have Giancarlo Stanton in right field, Justin Ruggiano in left, John Buck behind the plate, Donnie Murphy at third base, and pitching for Ozzie Guillen, Josh Johnson, the big guy at 6'7", who, as we mentioned, is a far better pitcher than his 7-10 record would indicate. For the Dodgers, they're also trying to win their 35th game at home, and for the Marlins, they're trying to win their second game against the Dodgers in 5 meetings. The Marlins are not a ball club that scores a lot of runs. Among other things, they have 24 bunt singles. They also have played 43 games where they have scored anywhere from 0 to 2. And during those games, their record 3 wins and 40 losses. So the Marlins figure if they're going to beat you, it'll be a tough one-run game and will be behind good pitching. Meanwhile, Clayton Kershaw, the spearhead of the Dodger pitching attack, trying to win his 12th. You remember his last game when he went up against the Giants and lost that tough game 2-1. It was really 2-0 while he was in there. And then the Dodgers got 1 run in the 9th, but it wasn't enough. So Kershaw trying to lead the Dodgers back to within 2 on a most interesting evening. Gorkis Hernandez, who appeared briefly as a pinch hitter last night and grounded out. Right-hand batter takes a strike. Gorkis from Venezuela was originally signed by the Tigers as a free agent about 7 years ago. Has a very strong arm. The strike one pitch is swung on. A shot inside third down the line. Gorkis around first on his way into second, and he's in there easily with a leadoff double. The Dodgers are getting tired of the opposition scoring in the first inning. You remember in the Giants series, the Giants scored in the first inning of all 3 games. And then last night, Peterson led off with a single, and with 1 out, Jose Reyes hit a home run, and the Dodgers were down that early in the first inning last night. And here is Hernandez opening up with a double, and now Solano, Reyes, and Lee coming up in that order. So a ball club that doesn't score very much. They average a little more than 3 runs a game. Donovan Solano, right-hand hitting second baseman, and we'll see how Ozzie Guillen pays it. The first pitch, full swing foul, and the count 0-1. The last time Kershaw faced a team, it was the Giants, and the number 2 hitter bunted in the first inning after Angel Pagan had doubled. But Ozzie Guillen has Solano swinging away. Solano's brother is a catcher with the Washington Nationals. His brother's name is Jonathan. He takes a pitch high, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Donovan Solano. Solano, right-hand batter, followed by Jose Reyes. Solano's from Barranquilla in Colombia. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way. Kershaw looks at second. There's a ground ball to the right side. Nice pick by Gonzalez. Feeds Kershaw coming over as Adrian gets a play and takes a base hit away, because he's a Gold Glove first baseman. He brings a lot of things to the dance. Ball hit to his glove side, made the full turn, and threw an accurate strike to Kershaw. However, on the play, Hernandez takes third, and now you have Jose Reyes coming up. Jose Reyes is a contact hitter. I mean, he has 10 home runs, 41 runs batted in. He just doesn't strike out very much. He has struck out only 47 times all year. Kershaw delivers, and the first pitch is swung on and missed. 0-1 the count. With a runner at third, we look up Reyes, and he has 2 sacrifice flies. He also has 7 bunt singles, although you would doubt he would do that with a runner at third. So Reyes waiting, switch hitter batting right-handed. Kershaw ready and delivers. Ground ball up the middle. Going to his left is Ramirez to throw him out. However, on the play, Hernandez scores. 5 consecutive games where the Dodgers are scored upon in the first inning. So 2 out, 1-0 in favor of the Marlins, and Carlos Lee coming up. Carlos Lee, the big man, the producer, the rancher, the man who is one of the great Brahma bull breeders in South America, from Panama. Carlos Big Man takes high, ball one. 1-0 to Carlos Lee. Remember earlier this year, the Dodgers tried to get Lee, but he turned them down and wound up here. Ground ball wide to third, a sprawling stop by Cruz to throw him out. So 2 ground balls, one by Solano, taken away by Gonzalez, and the other by Lee, stopped by Cruz, and it's still 1-0 Marlins. Well, what is new is the Dodger lineup, and here are the names on the card. Shane Victorino is out with a sore back, so Mark Ellis moves up to top the squad playing second base. Luis Cruz at third, Matt Kemp in center. Adrian Gonzalez will make his debut as a Dodger in the cleanup role. Then you have Hanley Ramirez, Andre Ethier, Juan Rivera playing left field for Victorino, A.J. Ellis, and Clayton Kershaw. Josh Johnson, you know he is here. He is 6'7", and the big fella turns, ready, comes to the hitter, and jumps it in there for a strike. Johnson out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, had Tommy John surgery back in 2007, has lost 6 games that he should have won. The pitch is low, 1-1 to count. So he really could turn his record around considerably. Josh looks over the fingertips of his glove, comes back 1-1, and Ellis drives it into left center field and deep, and that one's going to be off the wall. By the time it is gunned into second base by Ruggiano, Mark Ellis is there with a double. So Hernandez opened up the first inning with a double, and Mark Ellis comes right back, hitting a breaking ball against the left center field wall, and the Dodgers immediately have the tying run in scoring position. So Ellis with the leadoff double. Now you have Luis Cruz, followed by Matt Kemp. Cruz hitting .299. He had to hit over .450 for the last dozen games, and that's exactly what he has done. Though Johnson looks bunt, his infield is drawn up, and a ground foul outside of first, and the count 0-1 to Luis Cruz. We talked about Josh Johnson. He lost 6 tough games where he pitched at least 6 innings and allowed 3 earned runs or less. He has made 17 quality starts. He's had some arm trouble besides the Tommy John surgery. That was 5 years ago. Strike one pitch on the way. Cruz swings and doesn't get it, and the count 0-2. Josh Johnson, the big man, and scratching the surface. One thing the league has done, they've stolen 18 bases against him. That's an 86% success rate. Josh out of a stretch. Strike 2 pitch is golfed at and fouled away, and the count remains 0-2. In the 25 starts that Johnson has made, the Marlins have either been shut out, scored 1 or 2 in 12 of the games. So over that stretch, his record would be 1-10. The next pitch down and away on a check swing, and the count 2-2. But Josh Johnson certainly has the respect and admiration of everybody in the league. He can flat out pitch. Right-hander staring in while waiting on deck, Matt Kemp. 1-0 Marlins, first inning. Adrian Gonzalez hits fourth, and the next pitch is a shot over a leaping first baseman and down the right field line. Ellis will score into second base safely, goes Cruz, and the ball game is tied 1-1. Carlos Lee leaped as high as he could, and the line drive just over his glove and down into the corner. So the Marlins get a run, and they immediately give it back on back-to-back doubles. And now Matt Kemp coming up. So we have a 1-1 tie in the first inning. Remember, last night there was 6 runs for the Dodgers and 3 for the Marlins, so there were 9 runs scored in the first 3 innings. We've already now had a combined 2, and we're just starting in the bottom half. Johnson working on Kemp. Josh delivers, and a slider fouled away, and the count 0-1. In looking at Josh Johnson, whom, by the way, we haven't seen here in 2 years. Matt Kemp, 3 for 13 against him. Juan Uribe has the only Dodger home run against him in the past. 0-1 the count. Matt hitting .333, takes a pitch low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kemp last night, 2 for 4, 2 base hits, scored 1, knocked in 1. So he has 17 home runs and 54 runs batted in. So trying to pick up Luis Cruz, who is now hitting .300, standing out there in the rarefied air. The 1-1 pitch on the way, and Kemp bangs it into center. Hesitation on Cruz's part, so he'll stop at third. So make way, a roll of drums and a blare of bugles. Coming up with runners at first and third, and a standing welcome to Dodger Stadium ovation for Adrian Gonzalez. Meanwhile, Randy St. Clair, the pitching coach, going out to talk to Johnson. So we have a chance to tell you a little bit about Adrian Gonzalez. Born in San Diego, spent about 12 years of his childhood in Tijuana, attended high school at East Lake High in Chula Vista. He now lives in Phoenix, and of course he was a first-round pick by the Marlins. Yes, first-round pick way back in 2000. His banner years, well, he had 119 runs batted in when he was with the Padres in 08. He had 40 home runs for the Padres in 09. And last year with the Red Sox, he had 117 runs batted in. So Adrian with first and third, nobody out, a 1-1 tie, and Johnson ready to pitch to him. Gonzalez, a coast-to-coast flight to get here, and promptly whacks it foul into the seats down the right field line. Adrian Gonzalez, along with Josh Beckett and Nick Punto, took a charter jet from Boston, arrived here in time not only to suit up as Beckett wearing his stuff, leaning on the railing, Punto pacing behind him. Punto's wearing number 7, Beckett is wearing number 30, and Adrian is wearing the old number he wore in San Diego. He drives one into deep right field, right down the line in the corner, 3-run home run. Welcome to the Dodgers. And it's 4-1 Dodgers. Can you believe that could happen in his first at-bat After getting a standing ovation, Adrian Gonzalez homers down the right field line, and the Dodgers have a 4-1 lead, and the Marlins have to be shell-shocked. After they scored a run, the Dodgers bounce back against them. Ellis doubles, Cruz doubles him in, Kemp singles, and Gonzalez hits it out. Hanley Ramirez fouls it away. One of the things we want to tell you, and the crowd is asking Gonzalez to take another curtain call. I don't know if he's aware of it or not, but a lot of people were hollering and pointing. He's wearing number 23, and that's a very distinguished number for the Dodgers. Among others wearing number 23, of course, Kirk Gibson. How about Eric Karras? How about Derek Lowe? Turning the clock back, how about Steve Sachs and Claude Osteen? And the pitch makes it 2-1 the count. So Adrian Gonzalez hits a 3-run home run, and even though he's been playing professionally in the big league since 2004, I'm sure tonight has to be an extremely memorable moment. What a beginning. What a fairy tale story to take the applause, walk up, and hammer a home run. So it's 4-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Still nobody out. And Hanley Ramirez, 2-2 the count. Ramirez had a 2-run home run against his old club last night. 2-2 pitch he takes off the plate. When they first met in Miami, Ramirez went 6 for 13 with 5 RBIs, and then 2 more RBIs last night. So Hanley with 7 runs batted in against his old club. Now the 3-2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed, and down he goes. So Ramirez becomes strikeout number 1. Take another look on television as Adrian Gonzalez got a ball around the knees and lifts it right down the right field line. Nice stride, big swing, the completion of the swing, and the ball tucked inside the foul line deep in the lower deck. For Johnson, by the way, only the 11th home run he has given up. The Marlins do not usually get hurt by the home run ball. Here now is Andre Ethier hitting .284, and he grounds one foul outside of first. 0-1 the count. Ethier coming off a big game last night. He had a 3-run home run in the first inning, and then followed by 3 singles. That is quite a lineup for the Dodgers, with Matt Kemp hitting 3rd, Adrian Gonzalez hitting 4th, Hanley Ramirez hitting 5th, and Andre Ethier hitting 6th. That is a lineup indeed. Ramirez right now back in the dugout, and of course that lineup figures to produce a lot of runs before they're through. Meanwhile, what they're trying to do is reel in the Marlins and cut the Giant lead to 2. Giants lost to Atlanta earlier today. 1-2 the count to Andre Ethier, hitting .284. He has 13 home runs, 73 runs batted in. The 1-2 pitch is off the plate. 2-2 the count. Tomorrow, the concluding game of the series and the brief homestand, Mark Burley and Aaron Harang. One away. Mentioning the word Harang reminds me to tell you a story about a local boy who played in the game last night and led off for the Marlins. That was Brian Peterson. 2-2 pitch is low, ball 3, 3-2. Remember, the original rotation had Harang pitching tonight, but he is not. It's Kershaw. Well, Brian Peterson's mom had taken the original schedule and figured, since he's a left-handed batter, that Brian would be playing against a right-handed pitcher, Harang. So, although he had about 15 people here last night, he has over 30 here tonight, and he's not playing because Clayton Kershaw is pitching instead. Under the best laid plans of mice and men, but Mrs. Peterson. Meanwhile, Ethier fouls it away, and the count remains 3-2. What a moment for Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian, by the way, 30 years old, and that still has to be one of the high points of his entire life, I'm sure. 3-2 pitch on the way. Ether, ground ball to the hole, and he's got a base hit to left field. So Andre is now 5 for his last 5 at-bats. And if you go back to the last game against the Giants, he had a double and a single. So Andre is hit safely now in 7 consecutive at-bats, and Juan Rivera will be coming up. 2 doubles, a single, a home run, and with 1 out, another single. Rivera gets in the game tonight because Shane Victorino has a sore back, a tightness in the back. Said he started to feel it last night. So Rivera is out there in left field. Out of a stretch goes Johnson, and the fastball is high to Juan, ball 1. Rivera had a leadoff home run in the second inning last night. Victorino, meanwhile, bundled up and watching. Rivera went 1 for 4 last evening. 1 ball and no strikes to the right-hand hitter. Johnson ready and delivers off speed, and that's hit to center. Coming in for it is Ruggiano to make the catch. So that's the second out, and it will bring up the 8th hitter in the inning, A.J. Ellis. So the Dodgers last night racked up the Marlins with a 5-run 7th, and they start tonight with a 4-run first. Nathan Eovaldi, of course, was on the firing line the other night, and let's face it, he was shelled for 6 runs, including a couple of home runs by Ethier, Rivera, and Ramirez. So here is A.J. Ellis hitting .281. Johnson throws to first. Back on the bag is Ethier. We told you that under normal conditions, the league runs on Johnson. It's a little deep in the lineup to run somebody like Ethier with the number 8 hitter and the pitcher to follow. Out of a stretch is Johnson. Comes to his hitter. A.J. takes a strike. And the count 0-1. So Josh Johnson, who among other things had the Tommy John surgery in 2007. He was second to the great Bob Gibson early on in his career. He allowed no more than 1 run in 8 consecutive starts. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Josh delivers tight to the hitter, almost hit him. 1 ball and 1 strike. So A.J. carrying the burden behind the plate almost every day. The chances are perhaps Matt Trainer will get in the game tomorrow. We'll see. On deck, Clayton Kershaw. Remember the last game he pitched, he had a couple of base hits. 1-1 the count. Johnson, a high set. Back he comes off the plate. 2-1 the count. When Josh was growing up in Oklahoma, he played what they call high-level travel teams in high school. He played over 100 games a year for many years. One year he played 140 games. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that's down and away. Like they said, they figured it out. Josh's father said from age 9 to 14, they figured that Johnson played more than 100 games each year at shortstop and then as an 8th grader in center field. The 3-1 pitch, and that's in for a strike, 3-2. In fact, Johnson was such a good all-around player. The University of Oklahoma wanted him to play first base and DH when he wasn't pitching. For Johnson, an exhausting inning. This will be pitch number 35 in the inning. There goes Ethier. The pitch of the plate is lifted and fouled away, so he's still there, 3-2. Ethier going back to first base. In case you joined us late, the Marlins got a run. Hernandez doubled and came home on a couple of ground balls. Dodgers fired back. Ellis doubled. Cruz doubled him in. Kemp singled him to third. Gonzalez hit a 3-run home run with an ovation ringing in his ears. The next pitch fouled away, and it's still 3-2 to A.J. Ellis. So the battle continues. Ethier returns to first base. Johnson now working extra hard, hiding the ball back of his right leg, set at the belt. 3-2 pitch. Ethier goes, and that's fouled away. So the last time and the last batter Johnson needed was to have somebody punching foul balls. Three and two the count. Josh looks down the barrel to get a sign. Now he's ready. Ethier again ready to run. 3-2 pitch is swung on, hit in the air to center. Luciano comes up, drops it on a bounce, and has to get it back in. So A.J. Ellis, a little fly ball single to center, and with runners at first and second, Clayton Kershaw coming up. So this has become a brutal inning for Josh Johnson. He's gotten 2 outs, struck out Ramirez, Rivera on a fly ball, but everybody else, 4 runs, 6 hits. A bad night, at least at the outset, for Ozzie Guillen. Marlins, by losing last night, have lost 70 games. They are 21 games back of Washington. So here's Kershaw, and he takes ball 1. 1-0 the count. 39 pitches made by Josh Johnson. Here comes number 40 in a moment. First and third, 2 out, 4-1 Dodgers first inning. Johnson ready in the 1-0 pitch. Check swing, but it'll be a strike. And the count 1-1. So Clayton with 7 hits in his last 10 at-bats. That covers the last 4 games. 1-1 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed. And the count 1-2. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 1 hit for the Marlins. As we mentioned, the Marlins are averaging a little more than 3 runs a game, so Gonzalez has already put them in a hole. The 1-2 pitch is swung on and fouled away into the Dodger dugout. Luis Cruz having fun with the foul ball. And Kershaw waiting 1-2. There is certainly no fun on the mound for Josh Johnson. 42 pitches, and he's not out of the first inning. 28 years old. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Kershaw takes low. 2-2 the count. Waiting on deck, Mark Ellis, who started off the inning with a double. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way, and Kershaw takes off the plate. Ball 3. The bullpen is getting active for the Marlins, the fish tank as they call it. Wade LeBlanc, a left-hander who at one time was a teammate of Adrian Gonzalez in San Diego. He's been starting, but he's in the pen now. Kershaw takes strike 3 called as he was backing off to go to first base. So 9 men come to the plate, and the big swing, Adrian Gonzalez hitting a 3-run home run in his first at-bat. For Josh Johnson, he made 45 agonizing pitches, and at the end of an inning, 4-1 Dodgers. one, and the name Gonzalez already in headlines on a story emanating from Dodger Stadium. Now it will be Giancarlo Stanton, followed by Justin Ruggiana, and then John Buck. Stanton is quite a story all by himself. Giancarlo Cruz Michael Stanton. He's averaging a home run a little less than 7% of each at bat. He lifts one to deep left field. Looking to see how far it goes is Rivera, and that's more than 3/4 of the way up the left field pavilion. He is really going to become as big as there is in the game. And no pun intended, but Stanton is 6'5". He's about 250 pounds, a local boy who went to school at Notre Dame. He hit one last night, and now he hammers one. Last night was a towering fly ball. This thing went more than 3/4 of the way. Probably missed the top row, maybe by 5 rows. So it is 4-2 in favor of the Dodgers. He is without a doubt one of those eye-catching, standout players just as soon as you look at him. And he's as good as he's big. So Stanton hits it out. It is 4-2 in favor of the Dodgers. Justin Ruggiano with 12 home runs takes a strike, and we have a 2-1 count. Ruggiano hitting .320 with 29 runs batted in. Tough night last night, going 0 for 5. He hit the number 2 position. Tonight hitting behind Stanton, takes a strike, and the count 2-2. For Clayton Kershaw, that was the 14th home run that he has allowed. 2-2 the count. Ruggiano followed by the catcher John Buck. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and that will do it for Ruggiano. Take another look at Giancarlo Stanton's drive. Just see where it lands if you're watching on television. 9 rows from the very top of the pavilion. I mean, if there is one hitter who might very well hit one out of Dodger Stadium, it's the young Giancarlo Stanton, who now has 28 home runs to tie Carlos Beltran, 6 behind Ryan Braun. John Buck, the catcher, and he takes high. 1 ball and no strikes. Buck struggling, hitting .199, but he's capable of hitting the long ball, that's for sure. John takes another one high. Buck is playing in his 10th game in his career against the Dodgers, this being only the 3rd here in Los Angeles, and he's 0 for 7 here. And he hits a chopper to third. Cruz backs up for a big hop and throws him out. So we have 2 down in the 2nd inning, and Donnie Murphy coming up.
Batting next, number 38. Correction, number 22, Donnie Murphy.
Donnie Murphy is another local boy from these parts. We were told, without actually looking each one up, that there are 9 Southern California boys on the Miami team. First pitch to Murphy, foul back, right-hand batter. Donnie was born in Lakewood, lives in Anaheim, and among other things went to Orange Coast Junior College. He was selected by the Royals 10 years ago. Strike 1 pitch on the way out in front of it, and the count 0-2. So Kershaw gave up a run in the first. He's given a run in the second, but the Dodgers gave him a big 4-run first, so he's still leading by 2. Strike 2 pitch, very high. 1-2 the count to Donnie Murphy. Murphy about 5'10", bends slightly at the knees and waist. And the 1-2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed, and down he goes. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Kershaw, but Stanton certainly put his brand on him. And at the end of an inning and a half, Dodgers 4, Marlins 2. Notes on Giancarlo Stanton. He has 28 home runs, 8 against left-handers, 20 against right. He also has 16 home runs on the road. And they're still talking about a home run he hit this year in Denver that went 494 feet. Meanwhile, here's Mark Ellis. And Mark takes a strike and the count 0-1. Ellis, after the Marlins had scored in the first inning, came right back and led off with a double. The next pitch to him is swung on, lifted to deep left center. Back goes Hernandez, watching it go into the stands. So for Josh Johnson, he is certainly not going to be around very long. He made 45 pitches in the first inning and gave up 2 doubles, 3 singles, and a home run. And now the first man up in the second inning hits a home run. And the Dodgers lead 5-2. So for Johnson, at one time a premier pitcher in the league. And this has to be a nightmare for him as Luis Cruz checks in. So Mark Ellis in his 4th start as a leadoff man homers. Cruz, meanwhile, pops it up on the infield, and it will be the shortstop, Jose Reyes. And we have one away here in the second inning. So Mark Ellis, 5 home runs, all of them hit here. Dodgers 5 runs, 7 hits, and the Marlins 2 runs, 2 hits. So Matt Kemp, who singled in the first inning. Cruz went from second to third on the base hit. And then Adrian Gonzalez came up and hit the 3-run home run. Matt has more hits in his last 5 at-bats than he had in his last 25. So hitting .336, looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. No balls and 1 strike the count to Matt Kemp. 5-2 Dodgers, second inning. Matt takes low and away. So we've already had 7 runs in the first 2 innings. Last night we had 7 runs in the first 2 innings, and Adrian Gonzalez waiting on deck. 1-1 pitch on the way. Kemp lays off it, ball 2. By the way, that remarkable debut by Adrian Gonzalez, 15 Dodgers have homered in their debut as Los Angeles Dodgers. The first was big Frank Howard. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that's a strike. One other L.A. Dodger to home run in his debut is coaching at third. His name, Tim Wallach. He did it in the first ever game in Marlins history. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way to Matt Kemp, swung on, fouled away off to the right. 2 balls and 2 strikes. What a night for Josh Johnson. The bullpen was warming up back of him. He's ready to go back to work. 5-2 in favor of the Dodgers. We're only in the second inning. Johnson ready, and the 2-2 pitch. Fastball inside under the elbows. 3-2 the count. 54 pitches. And we're only in the second inning with 1 out. Josh Reddy and his 3-2 pitch, and that's whacked into center. A leaping try by Solano, but it was long past him. So Matt Kemp is 2 for 2. 2 line drive singles. And here comes Adrian Gonzalez again. So Adrian checking in. As we mentioned, his home run high, he hit 40 for the Padres 3 years ago. He had the pleasure of being a teammate with his brother Edgar in San Diego. Edgar raving at how hard a worker Adrian is. Johnson delivers, and it's on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. In fact, a typical reaction from kids. Edgar said Adrian was the only kid in the family who would come home from school and would immediately do his homework. The others would go out and play. then he'd go out and play. Strike one pitch is high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. While Gonzalez was with the Red Sox, he was doing well enough. But here he is, a Dodger, hitting 1,000 with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Josh Johnson ready, and the 1-1 pitch, and there goes Kemp, and it's fouled away, and the count 1-2. Give us a moment to tell you the Braves beat the Giants 7-3. Braves led 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 4-3, and then pulled away 6-3 and 7-3 the winner. Jason Hayward hit a home run in that game against Madison Bumgarner. 1-2 the count to Adrian Gonzalez. Johnson comes back. Adrian swings, doesn't get it, and takes the elevator to the basement. Isn't that baseball? 3-run home run his first at bat. Strikes out, maybe trying too hard here in the second inning. And we have 2 out. And the batter now, Hanley Ramirez. Dodgers have 5 runs and they've piled up 8 hits. Johnson is due to lead off in the 3rd inning. Hanley Ramirez struck out in the 1st inning. Batting champ 3 years ago for the Marlins. He promptly swings, drives it to right center. On his horse is Hernandez to glove it on the warning track, and that's the inning. The leadoff home run by Ellis. There was also a single, and at the end of 2, Dodgers 5, Marlins 2. Adrian Gonzalez 3-run home run. They lead the Marlins 5-2, and we go to the 3rd inning as Adrian settles in defensively. Josh Johnson, left-hand batter at 6'7", takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Johnson hitting less than 100. He does have 4 hits, 2 runs batted in, strikes out a lot, big swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. Johnson has made 60 pitches in 2 innings. The Marlin offense does a few things very well. Pitch outside on the corner, and Johnson takes a walk. So Josh strikes out. That would be the 3rd strikeout for Clayton Kershaw. Big noise for the Marlins, of course, that home run by Giancarlo Stanton. So now 1 away, and Gorski Hernandez who led off the game with a double and eventually scored the Marlin run in the first inning. Marlins like to bunt. They have 24 bunt hits. They also hit their home runs on the road, and he tried to bunt, took inside. 1 ball and no strikes. On the road, the Marlins have hit 43 home runs. The next pitch off the corner, 2-0. In fact, double checking. They've hit 44 at home and 69 of their home runs on the road. So it's a new ballpark in Miami, but the Fish aren't very happy there. 2-0 pitch in for a strike, and the count 2-1. If the Marlins get people on board against Kershaw, that will be an interesting battle within the game. They like to run. 2-1 pitch, a bunt, foul, 2-2. Remember, they have 24 bunt hits, so they do that well. They have 121 stolen bases. So if they get people aboard, they'll run. Reyes has stolen 28, Ruggiano 10. Bonifacio, who is out on the DL, he has 30 stolen bases, but he doesn't figure in the series. 2-2 pitch on the way. Check swing. They're going to look. No swing, says Tony Randazzo. And it's a 3-2 count. Clayton Kershaw, 11-7, 1-0 against the Marlins, 3-1 lifetime. And his 3-2 pitch coming up high with a fastball. So the 1-out walk will bring up Donovan Solano. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 2 hits for the Marlins. Although you could cut up that home run by Stanton and have about 5 base hits out of it. Solano hitting in the number 2 slot. Stanton hits number 5 as he sits and patiently waits for another at bat. Kershaw a look over at first at Hernandez and decides he best go over there. Gorkas hasn't played a lot. He's only been in 40 some odd games, but he is 4 for 4 in stolen bases. Kershaw, meanwhile, as you know, does a good job of controlling the running game. Clayton delivers, and the first pitch a strike, and the count 0-1. In his career, the success percentage of base stealers only 55% against Kershaw. He's also picked off 33. Hernandez takes the lead. Kershaw looks and has him picked off. Gonzalez faking, gets it down to Ramirez, back to Gonzalez, who tags him going by. So chalk up another pickoff. That's a painful thing that has happened to the Marlins too often. Their base runners get picked off. They've been picked off now 25 times. And for Gorkas, he is just hung out to dry. So 1-3, 6-3. And here's Solano with a strike 1 pitch that's swung on, fouled away, and the count 0-2. A lot of things go into winning, and as you might imagine, a lot of things go into losing. And one of the things the Marlins have been suffering from, very poor base running. Strike 2 pitch on the way is high. What's also interesting about the Marlins, you might say, well, if so many guys are being picked off, they must be a very aggressive base running team. That's not true. They're not aggressive. The 1-2 pitch, bad ball, chased and missed. Down goes Solano. 2 more strikeouts for 4 for Kershaw. And at the end of 2.5, 5-2 Dodgers. Johnson makes it to the mound as he'll be facing the Dodgers in the bottom of the third inning. He's allowed 5 runs and 8 hits. He's allowed 2 home runs and 2 doubles, and he has made 60 pitches in the first 2 innings. So he gives hard working a new definition. Meanwhile, Andre Ethier, Juan Rivera, and A.J. Ellis in that order. Ethier single to left. So Andre, as we mentioned, had 4 hits last night, and he had 2 hits his last 2 at-bats against the Giants. So he's had safely 7 consecutive hits. He's batting .391 against the Marlins, and he will lead off the third inning. 5-2 Dodgers, trying to pick up a game the Giants lost. And the pitch to Andre is on the corner for a strike, 0-1. Ethier batting .286, 13 home runs, 73 runs batted in. Strike 1 pitch on the way is swung on. Fly ball to right field. Coming up in a hurry. Making a diving trap, and the ball squirts away. Into second base goes Ethier with a fly ball double. Stanton playing deep right field. Tried to come up and get it. Tried to then catch, then trap it, and the ball kicked away from him. So Ethier will take it. He has a double. That means he has 8 consecutive hits. Stanton trapped it, and only to have the ball hit him on the wrist and kick away as the big boy hit the grass. So a fly ball double for Ethier, and Juan Rivera is the batter. Rivera flied to center in the first inning. So the Dodgers have 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and a total of 9 hits, and we're only in the third inning. Johnson out of a stretch and delivers, and the pitch is low, ball 1. Of course, you have to remember with Evaldi last night, he was gone early. Godin, Zambrano, Webb, and Hatcher all had to come out of the bullpen. So, if nothing else, Ozzie Guillen is hoping that Johnson can stay ill a while and give the other members of the pen a rest. 1 ball and no strikes to Juan Rivera. He backs off, takes a strike. 1-1 the count. Johnson basically fastball, slider, and a changeup. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way, and it's swung on and fouled back. Fastball down at 92. That, of course, was the trademark of Josh Johnson, a sinking 2-seam fastball. So Josh, deep in thought, heaves a sigh. Now the 28-year-old out of Oklahoma looks in to get a sign. Ethier at second base, nobody out. 5-2 Dodgers in the third. The 1-2 pitch coming up to Juan Rivera is swung on, fouled away. Rivera followed by A.J. Ellis. We talked earlier about Johnson as a youngster in high school playing 130, 140 games a year for about 5 years. So no doubt he's got a lot of strength, but he'll need it all. Been a nightmare for him. Still laboring, and he's only in the third inning. One ball and 2 strikes. Ethier at second, nobody out. Johnson ready and delivers, down and away. 2-2 the count to Juan Rivera, batting .236. Concluding game of the series in the brief homestand tomorrow, Mark Burley and Aaron Harang. 2-2. Johnson over the top, fastball fouled at the plate, so Rivera's still there. Juan playing tonight in left field. Shane Victorino reporting a stiff back. Started to feel it last night. as he grins and talks to Chad Billingsley. We don't have any news on Billingsley. All we knew is I think they took 2 different MRIs. One this morning, one this afternoon. So everybody hoping that he'd be all right. They did report that he will be out for a while, whatever that means. 2-2 the count to Juan Rivera. Johnson delivers, and there's a ground ball to the left of the shortstop Reyes. Jose makes the play, and on the play, Ethier advances to third. Say a reminder, be sure to bring the kids to Dodger Stadium tomorrow, a 1:10 game. The first 15,000 ticketed kids, 14 and under in attendance, receive their own Dodger backpack, compliments of Northrop Grumman. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. One away, infield has to play up. A.J. Ellis checking with Wallach, who is still looking in to check with Mattingly. Beautiful evening, 72 degrees, and it's only 10 after 7. This would be the normal time to start a game, but it's Saturday night. We start an hour early. The pitch to A.J. in for a strike, 0-1 the count. So Messrs. Lee, Solano, Reyes, and Murphy playing tight. Again, A.J. looking at Wallach. On deck, Clayton Kershaw, 1 out. Ethier double, takes third on a ground ball. And the strike 1 pitch, full swing and a miss, just in case you were thinking about a squeeze. And the count 0-2. A.J. Ellis, in looking at the close numbers, has struck out 87 times, and he's getting close to 400 plate appearances. On deck, Clayton Kershaw. Strike 2 pitch on the way, and that's a fastball high at 93. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Big Josh Johnson. He won 15 games in 2009. He was really something. The 1-2 pitch is low. Then he had the arm problems. The arm problems really came 2 years after the Tommy John surgery. Ethier waiting with 1 out. 3rd inning, 5-2 Dodgers. Johnson ready, comes back to Ellis, swung on, ground ball, base hit through the drawn-in infield. Scoring is Ethier. The Dodgers now lead 6-2, and they have 10 hits against Josh Johnson. Boy, what he was and what he is tonight are 2 very different and sad stories, certainly for Josh. 6 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. And Clayton Kershaw coming up. Johnson ready to make his 75th pitch, and we're only in the 3rd inning. He must certainly feel like he's in the 9th. Josh out of a high set, comes to Kershaw, who bunts. Johnson looks at second and goes to first. Might have had a play, but he opted for the sure out, and we have 2 down. So Kershaw does, among many things, bunt exceptionally well. That's the 12th sacrifice. Chris Capuano has 13.
Second baseman, number 14, Mark Ellis.
So Mark Ellis leading off tonight with a double and a home run. Dodgers 6 runs, 10 hits. The Marlins 2 runs on 2 hits. Ellis 5 home runs, 24 runs batted in, and hitting .265. A.J. Ellis takes his lead at second, following that good bunt by Kershaw. Mark trying to pick up A.J. And Mark takes off the plate, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Mark Burley and Aaron Harang tomorrow at 1:10. Then the Dodgers leave. They'll be going out to Colorado to play Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon. Then come back and play Arizona and San Diego. Arizona trying somehow to stop the skid. They're 7 games back. 1-0 the count to Mark Ellis. Luis Cruz in the number 2 slot in the lineup. 1-0 pitch on the way. That's a strike. 1-1 the count. Dodgers 6, Marlins 2. Dodgers trying to beat the Marlins 4 out of 5, and then their final meeting tomorrow. Kershaw trying to win his 12th, and Adrian Ozreri broken the seal on his debut here with a 3-run home run in the first inning. The pitch to Mark Ellis is low, 2-1 the count. Johnson has not walked anybody. He's just been flat out hammered. Josh looks into John Buck, his catcher, and the 2-1 pitch, a slicing foul ball coming over is Carlos Lee, but he can't make the play. It's back in amongst the customers. They count 2-2. Marlins scored a run in the first. Dodgers came back with 4. Marlins scored a run in the second. Dodgers came back with 1. Marlins failed to score in the third. Dodgers came back for yet another. Dave Hansen talking to Adrian Gonzalez in the Dodger dugout. And Mark Ellis waiting. 2-2 the count. Johnson out of a stretch. Ready and delivers. Fastball foul back. Well, he's still throwing reasonably hard. That was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but it was also Josh's 80th pitch. Mark Ellis waiting. Johnson with a new ball. A.J. takes his lead at second. And the 2-2 pitch coming up. Johnson delivers, and it's low, pushed out in front of the plate by John Buck. And the count goes 3-2. Josh Johnson, although you certainly wouldn't know by tonight, that only 3 National League rookie pitchers ever entered the month of August leading the league in earned run average, and he was one of them. Lou Ferry, Mark Gardner, and Josh. 3-2 the count. Johnson, a high set. Here he comes with a fastball fouled away. Johnson, back in that brilliant year of 2009, was twice named Rookie of the Month. He had 5 starts that year, where his earned run average was 1.3, and you wouldn't believe the pitchers he beat. The pitch is low, ball 4. The pitchers he beat, well, how about this collection? Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz, Roy Halladay, and Jason Schmidt. However, that is many, many, many pitches ago. Meanwhile, Randy St. Clair, the pitching coach, has to be dying a little bit. Ozzie Guillen, arms folded on the railing. Wade LeBlanc down in the pen. Interesting little bit of, not really interesting, but the way it's unfolding tonight. Here's Luis Cruz. Little conversation we had before the game. Pitch in for a strike. We happened to go in the Marlin clubhouse, chatting with some of the players like Stanton and Peterson. And Wade LeBlanc was sitting in his locker, and he was a teammate of Adrian Gonzalez in San Diego. The pitch is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. And I said to Wade, wouldn't it be something if you would pitch against your teammate? He said it might be tonight. Well, here he is warming up. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. 6-2 in favor of the Dodgers. Johnson ready, and his 1-1 pitch coming up. That's a little low. They throw back. A short hop that goes into center field. However, A.J. Ellis is tied up by Donovan Solano, and there's no advance. So John Buck hurt his right hand a little bit after making the throw. I think the right hand actually hit the leg of Luis Cruz. That's why he bounced the throw. Take a look. There's the right hand. Yep, hit him right on the knee. So John Buck, with a sore right hand, goes out to the mound till the pain goes away, talking to Josh Johnson. Another thing about Johnson, with all of the pitches he has made, the Dodgers have not helped any. They have fouled off 11 two-strike pitches. 2-1 to count to Luis Cruz. The Ellis boys are out there. A.J. at second, Mark at first. And a 2-1 pitch to Cruz, who has doubled and popped up. Johnson ready. Fastball fouled away. 2-2 the count. Cruz hitting .302. Boy, that was a big double in the first inning. He was hitting .299 when he doubled, and even though he popped up in the second inning, he's still above .300. Luis, open stance, right-hand hitter. Johnson out of his set, looks at the runners, comes to his hitter, and it's off the plate, ball 3. So with a full count and 2 down, the Ellis boys will be running. And Luis Cruz waiting for a pitch to hit, and Matt Kemp on deck. Cruz has only struck out 20 times this year. So he's been a pretty good contact hitter. Runners ready. Runners go. Fastball hit into left field. It will be caught by Ruggiano. So the Dodgers settle for 1. And at the end of 3, it's the Dodgers 6 and the Marlins 2. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Hyundai's Summer Drive Sales Event, now through September 3rd. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. Jose Reyes hits one by a diving Cruz, but is backed up by Ramirez, who throws him out. So Jose Reyes losing a base hit on an excellent backup play by Hanley Ramirez. And just like that, one away. Cruz diving but couldn't get it. And Ramirez backs up, makes the off-balance throw just in time. One away. In the dugout, Josh Johnson is probably saying, how do you get somebody out on one pitch? He's made 89 pitches in 3 innings. But it happens. Here's Carlos Lee, the pride of Panama, and takes ball 1. By the way, talking about Panama, they were 1 step away from the Little League Championship game, but they lost to Japan 10-2. And in the other semifinal game, California lost. Loss doesn't cover it. Tennessee beat California 24-16. 2-1 to count. The Tennessee and Japan will meet in the finals. Kershaw leading 6-2. Foul back. 2-2. Carlos hitting .281, 7 home runs, 59 runs batted in. Fastball got him outside corner. Lee can't believe it. Bob Davidson rings him up. So 2 down, and that'll bring up Stanton, whose home run, by the way, that landed 9 rows from the top in the pavilion in left field. It was estimated it traveled 452 feet. But again, remember, that pales in comparison by several home runs that he has hit in the rarefied air of Denver, including one this year that was 494 feet. The longest home runs at Dodger Stadium, back in 1969, Wilbur Stargell homered over the right field pavilion, over and out. That went 406. Mark McGwire hit one in 1999 that went 483. That's another fly ball, but this one's playable, and that'll be that. So 1-2-3 inning. We'll tell you more about some of the long home runs hit, and at the end of 3.5, 6-2 Dodgers. War in San Diego. He drives one into deep right field, right down the line in the corner. 3-run home run. Welcome to the Dodgers. And it's 4-1 Dodgers. Rather memorable moment in the life of Adrian Gonzalez. The list of the fellows who homered in their first at-bat with the Dodgers: Dusty Baker, Jose Offerman, Gary Ingram, Ronnie Belliard, Juan Rivera, and Adrian Gonzalez. Interesting, that little side chat that we had before the game in the Marlin dressing room has come to pass. Wade LeBlanc is on the mound, and the left-hander who teamed with Gonzalez in San Diego, they will go head-to-head. And LeBlanc just guessed before the game when I said, you might have to face Gonzalez. And he said, yeah, tonight. And here he is. But Gonzalez waiting for Kemp, who takes a strike. Matt Kemp singled to center twice. Matt came home on the home run by Gonzalez. 0-1. And that's going to be banged into left field for a base hit. So the Dodger hit parade continues. Matt Kemp 3 for 3. That's 11 hits for the Dodgers. And we're only in the 4th inning. And here comes Adrian.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
LeBlanc came up to the Padres in 2008 and played with them through 2011. Gonzalez was with the Padres from 2008 and left in 2011. So they were about teammates for 3 years. So Wade LeBlanc out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, facing Adrian Gonzalez. That's a strike at the knees. Adrian, the 3-run home run, and then rode the elevator to the basement when he came up in the 2nd inning and struck out. LeBlanc went to the University of Alabama. 0-1. On the hands, 0-2. Adrian Gonzalez with a home run, 3 RBIs, 1 for 2 as a Dodger. Hitting back of him, Hanley Ramirez. So the Dodgers have that ideal combination, right, left, right, left, right. 0-2. LeBlanc a look over at Kemp. Down and away on a check swing, no swing. Wade LeBlanc has a very impressive curveball. That was that last pitch. 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. He has a changeup. And he's been working on 2 pitches, both a cutter and a slider. 1-2. Nice save by Buck on that low pitch. Newman put in play. 2-2 the count. Wade LeBlanc, red hair, 6'3", 200-pounder. Just turned 28 first week of August. You just know he's from the Bayou country of Louisiana with that last name LeBlanc. 2-2. And down and dirty, and so Adrian Gonzalez hits a 3-run home run and then strikes out the next 2 times. That pitch out of the zone in the dirt. So 1 out, and that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez has struck out, fly to center. Then looking at LeBlanc's work, he is 2-3, but a good ERA of 2.5. 11 walks, 28 strikeouts. Left-hander with a closed stance on that first base side of the rubber. Missed high, ball 1, 1-0 the count. LeBlanc, among other things, has a wonderful changeup. Kemp trying to read LeBlanc and gets a throw. LeBlanc was a starting pitcher and was doing pretty well, and Ozzie felt he might do even better in the pen. LeBlanc made 5 starts. 1 ball and no strikes. Dodgers lead 6-2. Fastball strike. 1-1 the count. John Baker, the catcher, went from the Marlins to the Padres. That allowed Miami to pick up Wade LeBlanc. Meanwhile, John Buck trying to help him out of an inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ground ball to short. Reyes quickly to Solano. Back to first. They get the double play. They have turned 107 double plays, but of course when you're last, you're going to get a lot of opportunity. It's 6-2 Dodgers. With the Padres leading 9-5 in the bottom of the ninth, the Dodgers needed a hero, and they got 4. Jeff Kemp, J.D. Drew, Russell Martin, and Marlon Anderson strung together back-to-back-to-back-to-back home runs. In the bottom of the 10th, with the Dodgers trailing by a run, Nomar Garciaparra capped off one incredible night. One of the things I've always remembered about that game, remember 4 home runs in a row in the bottom of the ninth, and then Nomar Garciaparra hits a home run number 5 to win it. And what was Garciaparra's number as he carried into the Dodger dugout? You guessed it, number 5. 6-2 Dodgers. Ruggiano, Buck, and Murphy against Kershaw. 0-1. Ruggiano struck out in the second inning. He's got good numbers, hitting .318, 12 home runs, 29 runs batted in. However, he is 0 for 6 in the series, and he has struck out 3 times. 0-2. Clayton Kershaw trying to win his 12th, trying to get the Dodgers one notch closer to the Giants, who lost today. A Dodger victory would put them 2 back. One and 2. Well, for Ruggiano, strikes out again, so this has been a very rough series for him. 6 strikeouts for Kershaw, and remember he had 10 in that gem he battled with Madison Bumgarner. Remember, they each had 10 strikeouts and no walks. Well, he has walked a batter tonight, Gorkas Hernandez, in the 3rd inning. So here's Buck hitting .198, fouled away. The upcoming schedule for the Dodgers after tomorrow's game, they go to Colorado. How are they doing with the Rockies? Would you believe they have split 12 with Colorado? Yep. And in Denver, Dodgers have lost 4 out of 6. Did that hit his shirt? Yes, it did. So Buck hit by the pitch. Andre Ethier, who normally excels, especially in Denver, and they will need his bat for sure. Buck just has it graze the shirt. Bob Davidson gives him first base, rightfully so. So Donnie Murphy will be coming up. After Colorado, the Dodgers come home to play Arizona. How about this? Dodgers have lost 4 out of 5 at home to Arizona. And ball 1. And then the San Diego Padres come in. Dodgers have beaten San Diego 4 out of 6. But that's going to be a rough stretch. The addition of Adrian Gonzalez, and especially now Josh Beckett, of great importance. fielded by Kershaw, and the play at first. So that takes care of Murphy. So 1-3, and we'll see now. Josh Johnson is not coming up. Wade LeBlanc, who picked up for him, will be the hitter. LeBlanc hitting only 125, but he is a very good hitting pitcher for a pitcher. Carries that 274 batting average. But of course, he's facing a premier left-hander in Kershaw, so we'll see. Buck at second, 2 out. We were talking a moment ago about Billingsley. The Dodgers have placed right-hander Chad Billingsley on the 15-day disabled list with right elbow pain. Chad looking on right now. They also optioned infielder Alex Castellanos back to Albuquerque. Alex only got here yesterday. So for Billingsley, who was reinstated from the DL on the 23rd, he now goes back on. Dodgers also moved Jerry Hairston to the 60-day disabled list. And of course, we know that Jerry, having arthroscopic surgery on his hip, is lost for the year. 1-2 the count. Hairston was a teammate of Adrian Gonzalez and raved about Adrian as a teammate. Never mind his abilities. He said he is a great guy to have in the clubhouse. Not bad to have on the field either. 1-2 to LeBlanc. In the dirt. 2-2. Dodgers scored 6 runs in the first 3 innings. They have 11 hits. Scored 4, then 1, then 1. Mark Ellis has a double, a home run, and a walk. Adrian Gonzalez, a 3-run home run. So they kind of pounded Josh Johnson. 2-2. And hit foul. LeBlanc checking the bat. Sounded like he chipped it up here. Apparently it's okay. Two balls and 2 strikes to Wade LeBlanc. 2 out. 5th inning, 6-2 Dodgers. Little tapper to Kershaw. Clayton lobs it over to Gonzalez. No runs, no hits, a hit batter and a man left. And at the end of 4 1/2, Dodgers lead 6-2. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. By San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino, your place for summer excitement. By 76 Gas, we're on the driver's side. And by Time Warner Cable.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
Dodgers lead the Marlins 6-2, bottom of the fifth inning. An individual moment now as Andre Ethier checks in. He has hits in 8 straight at-bats, starting his last 2 at-bats against the Giants. The most consecutive at-bat hits by a Los Angeles Dodger, 9 by Ron Cey. And for Ethier, it'll be a tough 9th, especially against a talented left-hander, and also the fact that Andre is hitting just .218 against left-hand pitching. 1-1. Going back to his last game against the Giants, Ethier doubled in the 6th, singled in the 8th. Then he had 4 hits last night, and tonight a single and a double. 2-1 to count. Ethier, Rivera, and Ellis. Wade LeBlanc in relief of Josh Johnson, who certainly needed relief, with Rivera waiting on deck. Two and one. And a drive to right and deep, and this one is going to go out. Home run for Ethier. He's hit in 9 straight and ties a ribbon on the package. So Andre Ethier hits a home run, and against a left-hander. The hit in 9 straight at-bats for Wade LeBlanc. As far as home runs allowed, only the 3rd home run that he's allowed this year. When the Marlins came here, one of the pluses for the pitching staff, they did not give up a lot of home runs on the road. However, last night, the Dodgers had home runs by Ethier, Ramirez, and Rivera. Now they get home runs by Gonzalez, Ellis, and Ethier. So for a club that doesn't give up home runs on the road, the Marlins have given up 6 home runs in 1.5 games here. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2-1. Rivera flied to center, grounded to short. So the Dodgers with a comfortable 7-2 lead against a club that averages a little more than 3 runs a game. They had 4 runs last night. 3-1 to Juan. Fastball stroked into left center. That will go to the wall. It is picked up by Ruggiano, but jogging into second is Rivera with a line drive double to the gap. Take another look at Andre Ethier's home run. A nice big swing, full extension, that right arm going all the way through. A lot of the same stroke provided by Adrian Gonzalez, and that thing went out in a hurry. Adrian's home run down the right field line in the brilliant sunshine, and we left that call up to Tony Randazzo, the first base umpire. Ethier's home run was easy. So here's A.J. Ellis. Randazzo had to squint because on that home run at that time of day, you kind of lose the ball in the shirt sleeve crowd. So that was a good call by the umpire under a tough situation. If we show Gonzalez home run again, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Ellis 2 for 2, hitting .285. Off speed, lifted to left field. Appears playable, however. Ruggiano is there and puts it away. Tagging up and holding on is Rivera. Let's take a look at that Adrian home run for the umpire's choice. Look at the sunlight, look at the colorful crowd, and find the ball down there. Now we're looking from a pretty good angle, but if you're behind first base squinting into that brilliant sunlight, that wasn't the easiest call of all. Adrian will take it for sure, so will the Dodgers, and it's 7-2, and a good play by Tony Randazzo. Here's Kershaw, 0 for 1, struck out and sacrificed. Clayton hitting .239. Ethier's home run here gives the Dodgers a 7-2 lead. 1 out, Rivera at second. Foul back, 0-2. Remember earlier this year? Actually, it started last year and then right through April. Kershaw won 12 straight at home with support from Matt Kemp and the cast of others. 1-2 the count. Clayton came into the game 11-7, a very good ERA of 2.8. Kershaw has 2 complete games. At the end of the inning, we will talk a little bit about complete games. You might find it rather amazing. 2-2 the count. Three and 2 the count to Clayton. Only 1 out. Mark Ellis on deck. Johnson followed by the left-hander Wade LeBlanc. Three and 2. Got him with a fastball. Though Kershaw strikes out a second time. Rivera holding, and the batter will be Mark Ellis.
Dodger second baseman, Mark Ellis.
Mark Ellis, for only the 4th time in the leadoff role, and he's made the most of it tonight. He has a walk, a double, and a home run, hitting .265. In there. 0-1. Mark Burley and Aaron Harang tomorrow, concluding game of the series and the homestand. Dodgers trying to balance their books before leaving town. Lose 3 to the Giants. Try to win 3 from the Marlins. But they certainly can't take anything for granted. We've already given you the numbers about what they've done in Colorado, what they've done at home with Arizona. Not good. They hold on to this lead. They'll be trailing the Giants by 2. 0-2 to Mark Ellis. Seven runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Marlins. 6 of the 7 runs charged against the Marlins starter, Josh Johnson. When Johnson came in today, all the reports were that Josh was pitching very well. But as so often happens, You have a string of a couple of fine games, and then the sky falls in on you, and it fell on Johnson and Ozzie Guillen as well. 2-2. And it's hit to center, going back on the ball. Hernandez puts it away. So a home run and a double. Dodgers settle for one, and at the end of 5, lead 7-2. On this day in 1964, Sandy Koufax beat the Reds, went the distance for his 10th complete game, and eventually wound up with 15 that year. But in 1965 and 1966, each year, Sandy had 27 complete games. And in 1966, for good measure, he won 27 games. So do Clayton Kershaw a big favor. Don't compare him to Sandy Koufax. And let's go back to this one. That's in for a strike to Hernandez. 0-1 the count. Clayton has 2 complete games. Drops that curveball in nicely. 0-2. Hernandez, Solano, and Reyes. And if anybody gets on, Carlos Lee. Due up 5th in the inning, Giancarlo Stanton. Fastball and a hopper to Adrian Gonzalez. Dodgers not only get a veteran hitter, but a Gold Glover down there at first base. And at 30 years old, you figure Adrian's going to be a fixture here for a long time. One away. Donovan Solano has grounded out and struck out. 0 for 2. Hitting .289, 13 runs batted in. Ball 1. Marlins have lost 3 in a row. When the Dodgers won last night, they snapped a 3-game losing streak. 2-0 the count. On deck, Jose Reyes. And that's lifted foul out of play down the line. Down in the bullpen for Miami, the right-hander Chris Hatcher, who made 17 pitches last night to pitch the 8th inning. And by the way, when he pitched the 8th inning last night, he struck out the side. 2-2 the count to Donovan Solano. Solano has a little 8-game hitting streak. He is grounded out, struck out 0 for 2. Ground ball wide at third, smothered by Cruz. Gets up and is safe at first. Solano hustling down the line after Cruz made a great stop. Don Mattingly will challenge the call. Up and at him, Luis. And the throw. Bang, bang play at first. There'll be a brief discussion with Tony Randazzo. There's the ball. Look at that. Solano's foot not on the bag. However, in Randazzo's credit, I mean, we're using millions of dollars of equipment. He's got one quick chance to call it, and Mattingly understands. Here's what he saw in real time. I mean, bang, bang. Then we bring out the equipment like this. Oh, cinch. Wow, the umpire's terrible. Made such a bad call. Beans. All right, Tony. Solano at first. Jose Reyes at the plate. Reyes grounded out twice, 0 for 2. And a strike. Reyes had a 2-run home run in the first inning last night. Since then, he's gone 0 for 6. Against Clayton Kershaw coming into the game, he was hitting .300, 3 for 10. Lunges at a bad ball. Reyes has a lot of fun playing. One of the reasons, in December of last year, he signed a 6-year deal worth $106 million. Enjoy. 0-2. And a bunt. What a tricky bunt. Kershaw's going to throw him out. We better look at that again to see just where that pitch was. Wow. Solano down to second, 2 out. Watch this. Big slurb. I thought it bounced. I was going to say cricket. Up here, you're looking at the hitter's back. When was the last time you saw a bunt on a bounce? But it's a sticky wicket. And we have 2 out. Reyes grinning about it. Solano at second, and here's Carlos Lee. On deck, Giancarlo Stanton. So this is a big at bat for Carlos Lee. Stanton has homered and flied to center. And a little flare, and it'll be handled by Ramirez. So Stanton will lead off in the 7th, where he can do a minimum amount of damage, and it's 7-2 Dodgers. Marlins on a day that can be the long day of Adrian Gonzalez. It started this morning with Adrian, Josh Beckett, and Nick Punto on a jet leaving Boston, flying across the country, arriving in Los Angeles, and eventually arriving in Lot A and Dodger Stadium. The trio walks off the elevator down the hall to the clubhouse and put on the blue. Hugs from fellow teammates like Adrian gets from Andre Ethier, and then wearing the uniform, you get a standing ovation from the crowd, and voila! A 3-run home run in the brilliant sunlight in the very first inning in his debut as a Dodger. Was he brought back to earth? You bet. Struck out in the second, struck out in the fourth. So Adrian will hit third in the inning, and Luis Cruz at the plate. Ball one. Cruz double, popped up, flied to left, 1-4-3. Chris Hatcher is the right-hander on the mound instead of Wade LeBlanc. Ground ball to Solano, and Donovan makes the play. So we have one away. The batter will be Matt Kemp. The Padres just nailed the D-backs 9-3. Clayton Richard beat Ian Kennedy. Chase Headley hit his 22nd home run. So here's Matt Kemp. Kemp is 3 for 3 tonight, all singles. And ball one. 7 runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Marlins. Hatcher from North Carolina went to the University of North Carolina in Wilmington, working on Matt. One ball and 1 strike. Adrian Gonzalez is wearing number 23, and we pointed out at the start of the game that was the number that he wore in San Diego, and it was also a number that had been worn by a lot of Dodgers in the past. That's a foul ball. However, there was a time down in San Diego when Gonzalez, in honor of Tony Gwynn, wore number 19. And in those days, Gonzalez was going with a pretty girlfriend by the name of Betsy Perez. She graduated from nearby Bonita Vista High School. And show you how important the number 19 was to Adrian, not number 23, in a moment. Little ground ball, quick release, and the out. Anyway, Adrian Gonzalez hired an airplane to fly over the graduating ceremony, dragging the banner, "I love Betsy," number 19. And they married 2 years later, and they do live, although perhaps not right now, just a short walk from Petco Park. So those were the days when 19 had not only a baseball mark, but kind of a romantic tinge to it as well. We have 2 out here in the 6th, and a strike. Adrian, 3-run home run in the first inning, and then 2 strikeouts. Oh and 1. Little ground ball, waiting for it is Lee, underhands to Hatcher. So for Gonzalez, it's got to be a long day. Kind of an awkward swing, and at the end of 6, 7-2 Dodgers. theater, and we had great theater tonight in the first inning, when the man who came to dinner, Adrian Gonzalez, feasted in the first inning in his debut as a Dodger and hit a 3-run home run. Andre Ethier has 9 straight hits in 9 consecutive at-bats. So Adrian at home joining Ethier and others. And meanwhile, the big man is at the plate, Giancarlo Stanton. 1-1. Stanton, who homered last night, hit a home run that went about 452 feet to the 9th row from the back in the pavilion. And he hits another fly ball going back as Rivera on the track puts it away about 5 feet from maybe hitting another. Stanton with 28 home runs. Boy, what a player he is going to grow into. I mean, he is just starting out, really. So he, I guess, is the National League's answer, or will be, to Mike Trout. Just to add them up, Stanton had 22 and 34, then 56 and 28. 84 home runs in his young career. And just start 2-0. Very quiet. Doesn't make a lot of noise. Rarely changes his expression. Little ground ball to Ramirez. 2 out, 7th inning. John Buck coming up. Say, don't forget Tuesday, September 4th, fans with the first 30,000 tickets receive an adult Matt Kemp replica jersey, compliments of State Farm. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. 7 runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Marlins. Buck has grounded out, and then a pitch grazed his shirt, and he was awarded first. So John 0 for 1. John Buck out of Kemmerer, Wyoming. Lives in Arizona now. Went to high school in Salt Lake City. John originally signed with the Astros when he was 17 years old. And ball 3. Buck's best year with the bat probably 2 years ago with the Blue Jays. He had 20 home runs and he hit .281. So Buck with a 2-out pass, and Donnie Murphy coming up. We have a trivia question for you. Which 4-time batting champ did the Dodgers acquire in late August of 1985? Well, we'll give you the answer in a while. Kershaw has walked 2 and hit a batter. And here's Donnie Murphy, 0 for 2. Ball 1. One ball and no strikes. Austin Kearns, who appeared briefly last night as a pinch hitter, is on deck. One and one to count. AJ out to talk. So Murphy just trying to get aboard, trying to get something going. And Kearns waiting. Donnie Murphy hitting 190. 3 home runs. 9 runs batted in. Donnie Murphy from Lakewood in Anaheim. Originally signed by the Royals 10 years ago. Fouled away. Donnie came up to the Royals 8 years ago, bounced around, then went over to the Athletics, up and down, then came to the Marlins 2 years ago. 2-1. And a little pop fly, Mark Ellis, and that'll be that. No runs, no hits, man left. The end is 6.5, 7-2 Dodgers. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by the new wireless receiver from AT&T UVerse. Visit AT&T.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. By El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste. And by the full line of fuel-efficient vehicles at your Southern California Toyota dealer. 7-2 in favor of the Dodgers. Taking a look at the Dodger box score, everybody's busy except Hanley Ramirez. And Hanley had that big series against his old club in Miami. So now 0 for 3 tonight, which is just the way baseball is. I mean, Ramirez goes 6 for 13, 5 RBIs, and now 0 for 3 tonight. He did have that 2-run home run last night. Bottom of the 7th inning, Dodgers leading 7-2. That's right. Hanley batting .259, 20 home runs, 79 runs batted in. One and one. Clayton Kershaw through 7 innings has made only 86 pitches. Fellow really had a tough time. an agonizing time for Miami tonight was Josh Johnson, who made 89 pitches in 3 innings. And he started out a 45-pitch first inning. 2-1. So it's been Johnson, LeBlanc, and now Hatcher. Andre Ethier, who has had a base hit in 9 consecutive at-bats, tied Ron Say's mark, and did it by hitting a home run in the 5th inning. So we'll see with his at-bat. 3-2 the count to Hanley. Seven runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers, 3 more home runs. They've hit 6 against the Marlins staff in the first 2 games of the series. 3-2. And ball 4. So Ramirez draws a walk. Now, here comes Andre Ethier. He's had 9 consecutive hits, tying an LA record held by Ron Say. The Brooklyn record, Len Konichi way back, 1919. Ed hit in 10 straight. Now, one thing you have to understand, we are not talking about plate appearances. We're talking about at-bats. So just in case it comes up, if either should walk or get hit by a pitch, the streak would still be alive. Oh, and 1. Just to go back to his last 2 at-bats against the Giants. Ethier doubled in the 6th inning against Kane. Singled in the 8th inning against Affeldt. Then last night had a home run and 3 singles. That made it 6 in a row. And tonight, single, double, and home run. How about a triple? Wouldn't that finish off with a cycle? 1 ball and 1 strike. Big story, of course, tonight, if you weren't with us. Making his debut at Dodger Stadium as a Dodger, Adrian Gonzalez, after flying cross country, hit a 3-run home run in the 1st inning. With Boston, he had 15 home runs, 86 runs batted in, and a .300 batting average. Line drive, foul. 1-2. Though Andre's still there. Marlins scored a run in the 1st and a run in the 2nd for their 2. Dodgers scored 4 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and 1 more in the 5th. Home runs by Gonzalez and Stanton and Ethier and Mark Ellis. And a pop fly to shallow center, coming in a hurry, and he can't make it, is Hernandez. He throws to second and gets the man. Though Ramirez, guilty of rounding the bag, a little confused, tried to get back. But for Andre Ethier, he now has hit in 10 straight at-bats, tying a Brooklyn record. And sitting up here, we thought Hernandez went the wrong way anyway. Though Hernandez did not play the ball well, and that's 10 straight. They're putting it up on the board. Little fly ball, single to center. They get the ball, and that'll be heading for Andre Ethier's trophy case. Luckily, Ramirez had rounded second, so it wasn't a force play. There you see the late start going back. Now he tries to come in, can't do it. Hanley rounds second, comes back, and he's going to be tagged out by Solano. So Ramirez runs to the out, but Ethier safely aboard. 10 straight. Wow. Ball 1 to Juan Rivera. Fly to center, grounded to short, double to right. Pretty nice to have back-to-back games where you go 4 for 4. So Andre Ethier is 8 for 8 in the 2 games against the Marlins, plus the last 2 at-bats against the Giants. So remember when everybody was saying, what's wrong with the Dodgers? I'll tell you what was wrong with the Dodgers. They saw Bumgarner, Lincecum, and Kane. Now they saw Evaldi and Johnson. That's a big difference. Three and 0. Rivera batting .238, playing left field tonight. Shane had to sit down. Victorino with a tightness in the back. Foul ball. 3-1. With all the joy here at Dodger Stadium, the new acquisitions and the way they started off tonight, there certainly is still a sense of sadness. You don't overlook the fact that Chad Billingsley has had to go back on the disabled list for the 2nd time. Billingsley, who was 4-9, went on the DL, came back and was 6-0, and then the elbow flared up last night. So that will add to the importance of Josh Beckett, who will be pitching for the Dodgers in, of all places, to break in the National League. Beckett will be pitching in Colorado, which is the abattoir of pitchers, the slaughterhouse. 3-2. Runner going, foul ball. So Ethier back to first, held on by Carlos Lee. There they are, 2 of the newcomers. Punto wearing James Loney's number 7. Gonzalez wearing 23. And of course, of all the people who wear 23, the first name that jumps out at you, Kirk Gibson. Josh Beckett will wear number 30. 3-2. Runner goes, fouled away. Number 7 was worn among other people, a former Dodger manager, Charlie Dressen, wore 7. Other fellas who wore it, well, the great Joe Medwick and Pete Reeser, going way back. J.D. Drew wore 7. Paul Konerko. So Nick Punto wearing number 7. Runner goes, foul ball. Josh Beckett is wearing number 30. So it's interesting to run through the numbers, come up with some of the players who wore it in the past. Number 30, well, most recently that was worn by Nathan Evaldi. Looking for the biggest name to wear 30, Jay Howell, Ron Renicky, runner goes, another foul ball. Maury Wills, the biggest name of all to wear 30. They always say, what's in the name? What's in the number? So Ethier doing a little wind sprints, 3-2, 1 out. And Rivera fouling off one pitch after another. 7-2 Dodgers, trying to whittle one game off the Giant lead. Giants lost today to Atlanta. Their lead would be cut to 2. Little comebacker. The play at second is in time. Not in time at first. They will rule that the ball was dropped while in the act of throwing. Though Ethier's cut down. That was a good call. by Todd Tishner. And with 2 out, the batter will be A.J. Ellis. There's the throw coming up. Whoops. And dropped long after it had been on the bag with the ball. So A.J. Ellis coming up. Solano a little frustrated that he couldn't turn it into a double play. Ellis is 2 for 3. Dodger lineup tonight bursting with base hits, 14 hits. On the outside looking in, the former Marlin, Hanley Ramirez. Kemp has 3. Ellis has 2 and a walk. Ethier has 4. A.J. Ellis has 2. And Hanley on the outside looking in the candy store. Struck out, flied out, hit into a double play. With Ethier standing at first, having hit safely in 10 straight at-bats. The record is 12 now that he's back in the dugout. Johnny Kling of the Cubs, way back the turn of the century. Pinky Higgins, a wonderful player with the Red Sox in 1938. Walt Dropo, all hit 12 straight, and it's 7-2.
Aerial coverage brought to you today by Hangar One, made in California in an actual aircraft hangar.
7-2 Dodgers, 8th inning, and I guarantee you that Ozzie Guillen has done this on purpose. He's going to send up a pinch hitter with purpose, and that would be the local boy, Brian Peterson. Why would he send up Peterson on purpose? Well, explain. We told you the story at the very start of the game. Brian Peterson's mom was looking at the advanced rotation for the Dodgers, and although there were a couple of people here last night to see him play, originally Aaron Harang was going to pitch tonight. So his mom rounded up everybody, over 30 people getting the tickets to see Brian face Harang because he doesn't face left-handers. Well, not to disappoint the crowd, Ozzie has sent Brian up there in a rare moment against a left-hander. Brian hitting .203, 10 runs batted in, a graduate of Chatsworth High. Takes a strike. He was saying when he was a little leaguer, they sat high up above us, way up, as he called it, the nosebleed section. They would have a transistor radio blaring, and the kids would watch the Dodgers. And, of course, he would sit up there as a little leaguer and dream. He went to the University of California at Irvine, led the baseball team to the College World Series. And here he is playing in the ballpark. And did he foul it? No. Oh, that's a shame. Well, Mom and all the others at least saw the son get there. To strike out against Clayton Kershaw, you join a large group. Brian thought that he might have fouled it. So some things in life just don't work out, and it was a perfect moment. His very first at-bat last night was okay. He got a base hit to center field. That's a fly ball. Matt Kemp waiting on it. And quickly 2 out. Okay, remember the trivia question that we gave you just a little while ago about the 4-time batting champ acquired in late August way back in '85? Yeah, they called him Mad Dog. Bill Madlock. He hit .360 that year. Dodgers won the West and then lost to the St. Louis Cardinals on the famous home run by Jack Clark. Why did they pitch to Jack Clark? Because on deck was a left-hand hitter named Andy Van Slyke. So they went Tom Niedenfuer, the right-hander, against Clark, and the rest is history. Strike 2. Solano grounded out, struck out, singled. Remember that diving stop by Cruz, close play at first, and it went Solano's way. But down he goes. 2 more strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw, so that should get him up to 8. And at the end of 7.5, 7-2 Dodgers.
You never had it so good.
Adrian Gonzalez hits a 3-run home run in the first inning, the 6th to hit a home run in first at bat with the LA Dodgers. That got them off to a great start. They wound up scoring 4, and they lead 7-2 in the bottom of the 8th. So Gonzalez has made his debut. Now it's time for Nick Punto to make his debut, and he's another fella happy to be home. Nick was born in San Diego and lives down the road in Mission Viejo. He was originally signed by the Phillies, came up with Philadelphia for about 3 years, then went to Minnesota from 04 through 2010. So he had 7 years with Minnesota. Then he went to the Cardinals and with the Red Sox. Heath Bell, formerly with San Diego, last 3 years with the Padres. Heath struggling more with the Marlins than he did in San Diego. 1-1 to count. Bell, the colorful reliever who naturally had the nickname of Taco. Born in Oceanside, signed by the Mets for all of $500. Heath is 6'3" and listed around 250. Got up to the Mets briefly. It took him 6 years. Then he went to the Padres, and he was with the Padres for 5 years. He saved as many as 47. And, of course, teammates with Adrian Gonzalez. So Hanley Ramirez, Adrian Gonzalez, new teammates on a new team. 3-1. And ball 4. So Punto, who stands 5'9", doesn't give you much of a strike zone and draws a walk in his debut. Don't forget, September 1st, the second natural balance bark in the park this season. That's right. Purchase this special ticket package for you and your dog. Receive tickets to the Coca-Cola All-You-Can-Eat Pavilion. You'll get a goodie bag and more. Tickets limited, only available at Dodgers.com/bark in the park. A strike to Ellis. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Ronald Belisario warming up to pitch the 9th. And that's going to be hit to center, and it's in front of Hernandez for a base hit. So it's quite a night, although it'll probably be overlooked, for Mark Ellis. All Ellis has is a walk, a single, a double, and a home run. So the Dodgers now have piled up 15 hits. And the batter will be Luis Cruz. 7 runs, 15 hits for the Dodgers. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Marlins. There's a reason to hang on. Giancarlo Stanton will be batting third. Well, another hit and another run. The play will be a third, not in time, and the Dodgers lead 8-2. Punto brings the run in on hits from Ellis and Cruz. So the rout is on. Dodgers with 8 runs and 16 hits. Their most hits in a game this year was 15 the last time in Pittsburgh. Their most runs, however, in a game, 11. And that was against Miami last night, and trying to do it again. So here's Matt Kemp. Matt with 3 singles. Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Ball 1. So Punto walks, making his debut. And then Ellis and Cruz single. Punto scores. Luis Cruz 2 hits, 2 runs batted in. One and one. Heath Bell will be 35 years old the end of September. His dad, a United States Marine. Luis Cruz at first. Ellis at third. Nobody out. Foul back. In mentioning the United States Marine, it reminds me, and I'm sorry I overlooked it because of all the hoopla over Adrian Gonzalez and the trade. We lost a great American today in Neil Armstrong. 1969, when he planted the flag and walked on the moon's surface. Neil Armstrong was 82. What was it? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Yep, imagine walking around up there. The Eagle has landed. 3-2. So Bell, who's been struggling, is struggling some more. Heath's earned run average awfully close to 6. He does have 19 saves. Adrian Gonzalez, another former teammate. He already faced Wade LeBlanc. Foul ball. 3-2 to Matt. Kemp 3 for 4. Ethier 4 for 4. Mark Ellis 3 for 4. So they've really had a night at the expense of especially Johnson. 3-2. And of course, the other, what is a sidebar for the moment, is the fact that Andre Ethier has now hit safely in 10 consecutive at-bats. He's got 2 other hitters between Kemp and himself if he figures to have a shot at number 11 tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, Mark Burley. Matt Kemp. Down he goes. So we have 1 out here in the 8th inning, and the batter will be Adrian Gonzalez. Boy, that was a moment. You'll be reading about it and see pictures and hear about it on the news. Adrian's debut as a Dodger. 3-run home run. He saw LeBlanc and struck out. Now we'll see what he does against another teammate, Heath Bell. Adrian was hitting .300 with the Red Sox, and he had 15 home runs. Dodgers lead 8-2, bottom of the 8th. That's fouled away, and the count 0-2. Gonzalez played in 123 games for the Red Sox before coming here. Oh, 2 the count. Luis Cruz, Mark Ellis out on the lines. Little roller foul. One thing you learn easy when you're traveling with a ball club, you may be able to turn your clock back or turn your clock ahead, whatever it is with the time zone. Unfortunately, you can't do anything with the so-called circadian clock that's ticking away inside you. So for Punto, for Gonzalez, for Beckett, they picked up 3 hours, but not body time. Whoa, nice save by John Buck. 1-2. When the Marlins come up in the 9th inning, they'll have Jose Reyes, Carlos Lee, and then Giancarlo Stanton. Only 1 hit amongst them. They're 1 for a collective 9, and that was Stanton's home run. in the dirt. 2-2. Heath Bell, when he was with San Diego, he saved 42 in 09, 47 in 2010, and last year he saved 43. However, in those years, his earned run average 2.7, 1.9, 2.4, and today 5.6. 3-2. So with one out, runners at first and third, and Gonzalez waiting. And a pop fly angling out is Reyes. 2 down. In case you missed it, we're going to show you Adrian Gonzalez first at bat again. A fastball from Josh Johnson about at the knees, and through all the sunlight and the colored shirts, the ball stayed fair going down the line. What a remarkable way to start the new story. Adrian Gonzalez as a Dodger. After that, struck out twice, grounded out, popped up, so it came right back to earth. Ground ball foul off the bat of Hanley Ramirez. Hanley is 0 for 3 with a walk. Struck out, flied out, hit into a double play, and walked. The Giants lost to the Braves today. Madison Bumgarner knocked out, suffered the loss. Dodgers will be 2 back when they take the field tomorrow. 0-1. Another strike. 40,284 came out, and I'm sure most of them had a great thrill when Gonzalez followed that Hollywood script and hit the home run. For Hanley, he draws a tough 0 for 4, striking out twice. Dodgers get 1, and we're heading for the 9th. Dodgers lead 8-2. Good night. Final game between the Dodgers and the Marlins will come tomorrow. Mark Burley with a record of 11-11 and a good ERA of 3.6. He'll go up against Aaron Harang, just about the same ERA and a record of 9-7. And that should be a good one to finish up the series and the homestand. Dodgers then will go to Colorado before coming back to play Arizona and San Diego. Ronald Belisario will pick up. While we have a moment, we'd like to tell you the plans here at Dodger Stadium. First of all, when the game ends, Our post-game show, as usual, will follow the play-by-play. And the feature, of course, will be with Adrian Gonzalez. But then, after the Gonzalez interview, there will be pretty much of a public press conference out on the field with all three new Dodgers, Adrian Gonzalez, Nick Punto, Josh Beckett. So if you stay right where you're tuned, you'll also meet the other two after having seen Gonzalez most of the night. Here's Reyes hitting left-handed now against Belisario. He is 0 for 3. Tried to bunt for a base hit. Actually bunted a pitch on the bounce. Hitting .294 left-handed. So Dodgers Live will be extended tonight. The interview with Gonzalez, and then you'll meet all three again. Punto, Beckett, and Gonzalez. A lot of fun here at Dodger Stadium, and they lead 8-2, and they will be 2 games back of the Giants unless the Marlins turn into whales. Little ground ball to Nick Punto. 1 away. So Reyes goes 0 for 4. Had a 2-run home run in the first inning and has gone 0 for 8 since. Here's Carlos Lee. Lee is 0 for 3 tonight. 1 for 2 last night. And then Giancarlo Stanton on deck. New ball put in play. Belisario for Clayton Kershaw in quest of his 12th win. He went 8 innings and was brilliant, allowed just 2 runs and 3 hits. Clayton made 94 pitches, so that was a nice easy evening for him, and he struck out 8. 1 ball and no strikes. In there. 1-1. Carlos hitting .280. One ball and 1 strike. Ball 2. Ronald Belisario trying to nail it down. He's 3-1. Good ERA, 2.9. Fastball lifted to left center. Kemp is at the other end of it. So 2 out in the 9th inning. And I would guess what's happening tonight will happen throughout the league after a while. A lot of people will hang around on a decidedly one-sided game just to see Stanton. He has 28 home runs. The one he hit tonight, 9 rows from the very top. If he stays healthy, one day I'm sure he will hit one over the pavilion roof in left field. Not this time. Little ground ball to Ruiz, and that's it. So the Marlins go quietly. They had 1 infield single since the 2nd inning. So they were completely shut down in the face of an avalanche of Dodger hits and runs. Started with that big, dramatic 3-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez. So if you take a look at the National League West, it is beginning to happen. The Giant 3-game lead has been cut to 2. Arizona fading a bit, staying 7 back. Giants lost to the Braves 7-3. So it figures tomorrow when the Dodgers will have Aaron Harang. If the rotation holds up, I would assume that Tim Lincecum will be pitching for the Giants against the Braves tomorrow. For Belisario, it was a very short night's work. He came in and made only 8 pitches to retire the side in order. And again, it should be pointed out, the Marlins, after the home run by Stanton, had just 1 hit after the 2nd inning, and that was the infield single on a very close bang-bang play that went in favor of Donovan Solano on a tight squeeze at first base. So again, a reminder on the postgame show, They'll have Adrian Gonzalez, and then following that, the big public one that you can also hear and see with Gonzalez along with Punto and Beckett. As for us, that ought to do it. We wish you all a very pleasant good evening.
All right, Vince, thank you very much. I'm down in front of the Dodgers dugout, and I think this Dodger Stadium crowd wants to officially welcome Adrian Gonzalez to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Listen to him.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
You know, you're in L.A. now, and I don't think Hollywood could have scripted your first at-bat. Tell us a little bit about that.
Just runners in scoring position. Guys did a great job of getting on base and just looking for a good pitch to hit, trying to be aggressive, and got a fastball middle in that was able to stay inside and put a good swing on. It was a great way to get everything started here.
This had to be one of the greatest whirlwind days of your life. You wake up in Boston this morning. You end up here in L.A. with a big win for this team.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. Clayton did an unbelievable job throwing the ball, and the guys just very impressive to see every at-bat the guys took, just right down the line, 1 through 9.
I know that we're going to hear from you here with a press conference here in a few minutes. Everybody can hang around and listen to that as well. But I also want to ask you about hitting in the middle of this Dodger order now. You guys are going to have a lot of fun for the rest of this year.
Absolutely. Guys are swinging the bat great and got some great hitters in the middle of the lineup, even at the beginning and at the back end as well. So it's a great team. Excited to be here.
Everybody's excited to have you two. Go celebrate with the rest of your team.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to be out in center field with Kenny Lofton and the rest of the boys out there in center field along with Patrick O'Neill.